What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with NIO and the overall market. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30. Now, as far as the market is going, we're seeing the market, it saw a big dump in the morning after CPI came out, but instead of holding those lower levels, we saw a full recovery when the market bounced despite the fact that CPI was hot. All of the CPI numbers were above expectations. CPI went up, as you guys can see, for all items, it went up. And also for all items without food and energy, we saw CPI go up this morning. So the inflationary numbers were not too good. That's why the market dumped initially, but it wasn't enough to cause the market to really hold those levels, and the market got bought right back up. That's why NIO formed this wick down here, and it got a bounce. It's looking for 4.21 and 4.25 as our targets. We also have this gap up here to fill, so we'll see how this ends up going. But as you guys could tell, we're looking a little bit more bullish for the time being. So for now, there is potential in this. JP Morgan did downgrade NIO to a neutral rating. They did talk about the fact that the outlook is what is shifting in their view. They're looking for about 340,000 units with a 50% growth in terms of their sales. But they did downgrade from a $7 target to $4.70. That's what I'm still seeing on headlines. Nothing else that's too crazy. But it is worth mentioning that different people were expecting Donald Trump to make these big announcements, and he hasn't done it yet, but now they're saying that he's going to do it tomorrow. And I want to clarify what's going on with these tariffs, because I know that I keep talking about it. I'm not trying to kind of talk about it myself. I'm simply just reading headlines, listening to what Donald Trump is saying, listening to what mainstream media, news sources, what all of them are saying, and they keep on getting delayed for when Donald Trump is going to announce these things. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on. So what happened today was we had Jerome Powell speaking in front of the U.S. House. He didn't really say much. He just continued to avoid questions and insinuated that the economy is doing very, very well, and that inflation, although it is elevated, it still is once again going to meet their target goal. So that was fine. Donald Trump said that he wants interest rate cuts instead, which will go hand in hand with his tariffs. So what's happening with the tariffs? Last week, okay, Donald Trump said he's going to be announcing reciprocal tariffs on a bunch of different countries. He said it last week, and he said he's going to do it on Monday or Tuesday. Then on Monday, Donald Trump said that he will most likely announce the tariffs on Tuesday or Wednesday. So he delayed it just a little bit. We waited for Tuesday, the full day. He did not announce them. Then Wednesday came, and so far he has not announced them yet. So we're still waiting for this. Then there was news that came out that Donald Trump could be saying it today, because listening to many of his adversaries, they were saying that a lot of progress has been made, at least so far. And then on top of this, they are continuing to negotiate, and that they said that Trump should have made the announcement today, but he ended up not doing it so far. So that made people very confused. Like, wasn't he supposed to announce the tariffs? What's happening? What's going on? And that is why many reporters asked the White House press secretary, they were asking them what's happening. When is Trump going to make the announcement? And she said that Trump should make the announcement tomorrow. That's what she's saying now. Tomorrow, before Donald Trump meets up with the Prime Minister of India, he should be announcing what's going to happen with these tariffs on every country, and that there's going to be new imposed duties. So we'll see about this. These are her exact words. I do believe it will come before the Prime Minister's visit tomorrow. She told reporters that, essentially, when asked about when he's going to make these announcements, because he keeps saying he's going to do it and we're waiting for it. And then she added that she's going to let the president discuss the details about the reciprocal tariffs front. But this is something that he strongly believes in. And then Donald Trump said that he's going to be planning to slap reciprocal tariffs on every country that imposes import duties on the US. So that's what he is saying. So it's wild, guys. I mean, one day Trump is saying he's going to make the announcement on Monday or Tuesday. Then a couple of days pass and he says it's going to be on Tuesday or Wednesday. Then we're being told he's going to make the announcement on Thursday. So it's just delayed over and over again. I know this is annoying people. People are just getting kind of impatient. But in all honesty, guys, I'm trying my best to be very unbiased. I'm not trying to BS or anything, or even lie. I'm just telling you the truth. This is what I'm seeing. I keep on hearing this over and over again. We're waiting very patiently for Donald Trump to finally Give us those tariffs. Tell us what he wants to do. Okay, we've been hearing about this since last week. We're waiting. Every day they keep saying tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow is it. Hopefully tomorrow is going to be the day that Donald Trump finally announces these new tariffs. And we'll see how that ends up affecting the markets. We'll see about this. I'm just tired of all these articles saying it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. Let's just hope that it happens now. These are the biggest trade partners. We already know what's happening with the Mexican and Canadian tariffs, but we're just waiting for Germany, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam, not to mention more EU countries. So we'll see what happens. We're going to be very patient on this one. I can't even promise you at this point it's going to be tomorrow. They keep saying tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. We'll see about it. This is what they claim. So we'll see if he finally makes the announcement, and that's going to affect the markets to some extent. In terms of earnings, there wasn't really anything too significant for me to talk about today. We just have Reddit and a few more like Robinhood and Dutch Bros. Tomorrow is going to be Thursday. We have Datadog, a few more. Then we have Coinbase. Don't forget about that. So get ready for those, at least moving forward. So with that being said, don't forget we have Coinbase announcing earnings tomorrow, and this is what the calendar looks like. There's nothing that's too crazy. And then the market is neutral. It's getting very, very close to neutral. The fear is subsiding despite the fact that we got a hot CPI. Everything was above expectations. The market just dumped and then bounced, made a full recovery. NIO looks bullish right now. Looks like it wants to go to 4.25. Could go a little higher. It's possible the market tries to pump more. We do look more bullish. But whether or not this happens may also depend on Trump. I know I hate to say that, but it's the truth. We'll have to see what Trump says about the tariffs and how the market reacts. It depends on how many tariffs is he going to be announcing, to what extent. Is it going to be just smaller? Is it going to be bigger? Is he going to announce 10 countries, 15 countries, 5 countries? I don't know, guys. That's why I'm warning you guys to be careful, because every time he's talked about tariffs, the market has seen big moves, 8 to 20 point moves every time he has mentioned them. So let's wait and see. Will Donald Trump give us the tariffs tomorrow? And then we'll be very patient. Speaking of tomorrow, don't forget we also have PPI data tomorrow. This is like CPI, except it's on the wholesale side. And besides that, there's nothing else that's coming out that's too significant. So in the morning, there's PPI data. This is expected to be very close to expectations, the same numbers as what we got beforehand. This is similar to CPI. That's the first thing. The second thing might be Donald Trump's tariffs. We'll see if he announces them, if this affects us or not. All I can tell you is right now the charts look a bit more bullish, but we'll see how this data and Donald Trump affects things, okay? For SPY, we dumped after CPI came out. Then we made a full recovery during Jerome Powell's speech. And then afterwards, the market held up. In this case, when you form wicks like this tends to be a bullish signal. So we are looking like we want to push higher to about 605 plus. If we break that, we could be going to 608. We'll see about that. If we don't, if we get a rejection and we lose 602 again, we're dipping back down to 600. So we either push to 605 and reject back down to 600 or below if we get a hot PPI, or we break past 605 and we start pushing for 608 to 610, try to break out of this trend line. Could go either way depending on PPI, and then whether whether or not we pump and dump, or if we just pump and keep going, is also going to depend on what Mr. Donald Trump ends up saying. So we'll see what he says tomorrow. Is he about to announce his tariffs? Finally, the White House is saying it's going to be tomorrow. This time they're literally saying tomorrow. He should be doing it. They've been saying this for a while, so let's hope it's tomorrow, and we'll see how that ends up affecting us. I can't really promise anything about that yet, but I do anticipate more upside, and then we'll see if we get a rejection or not, depending on the PPI report. The charts do look more bullish, though. The QQQ looks very bullish. Looks like it wants to push up for 530, then 533, at least from a technical standpoint. But will we pump and then dump, or will we reject here? It depends on the very important inflationary numbers. So we'll see what the big guy Donald Trump ends up saying. Will he give us something like that? If PPI is decent, I think we go up to about the 530s on the QQQ to 533. If it's hot, this could be looking for a rejection. We'll see what Donald Trump ends up saying. We could push higher, and we'll see if Trump launches this higher or not. If he announces heavy tariffs on a bunch of countries, we could get a rug pull. So we'll see about that. We're waiting to see what's about to happen, how the market responds. For the Russell, if we bounce here, we're looking for a retest of 225. If we reject here, we're looking for a dump to 220. This might try to bounce a bit, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. On ES, we're at this resistance trend line right here. If we get a bounce after PPI comes out, we're looking for an attempt to get back up to about 61.22. If we get a rejection and we lose 60.50, we're looking for a dip to the low 6,000s. It could go either way, But there's a very strong possibility that if we do push higher, we're also going to wait and see what Donald Trump announces. Will he announce tariffs that cause us to dump back down? Or will we just continue to pump? It depends on the extent of these tariffs, what he's going to say, who's going to be included. And now the White House is saying it's going to be tomorrow, so we'll see about this. So it could go either way. For NQ, let me actually clear this up real quick, just so that it's clear. So it could go either way. This does look more bullish, technically speaking, but we'll see just to be safe. NQ is looking bullish, is trying to break past this trend line. If we break this, we're looking for an attempt for 22,000. If we lose 21,600, we turn back down. We're looking bullish. It looks like it wants to pump higher on PPI, but we'll see just to be safe. And even if we do get an initial pump, we'll see if the move lasts once Donald Trump makes his announcement. He's saying it's going to be tomorrow. At least the White House is saying it will be tomorrow, so we'll see. Bitcoin looks bullish, looking for an attempt for 99,000. Nvidia is looking so-so. It's trying to break past 133. If that breaks, we're looking for 135. Now, if we end up losing 129, we're looking for a dip back down towards 126. So we could be tipping to 129. We'll see if we bounce off this or not. On Tesla, we're trying to rebound. We're looking for an attempt for 351 as our resistance. This could try to bounce higher. It depends on the news tomorrow. If we get a decent inflationary report, we could be retesting the low 340s. But I want to warn you guys that this is not guaranteed to be a forever long-lasting move, because on the daily chart, we're still quite bearish. This is just a temporary bounce. If we get back above 340, we're looking for 345 and 350s are potential targets, especially as we have a gap to fill back up towards the 351 area. So it depends if we get a small bounce on PPI or not. And then this is just a small bounce after so much downside. There's still a risk of more downside on Tesla. It might just bounce a little bit before we see a bigger move. On Apple, we look bullish. It's forming a nice inverse head and shoulders here, trying to push back up to about 240, which becomes a strong possibility for tomorrow. Looks bullish, but we'll see depending on the news and also depending on what Trump says. Coin is looking bullish, looking for an attempt for 280. We'll see if we break past this or not, especially if we have this gap above. So watch 282 and see if we break to 285 or if we get a rejection. On Amazon, we're going to be watching to see if we end up dipping lower. It's a little bit lackluster compared to the markets. It might retest 229. If that does not hold, we could be dipping closer to our lower supports, such as like 225. Meta is looking very bullish. Meta is still looking very strong. Looks like it wants to go closer to like 730. There's no sign of this rejecting yet. There is the tariff news for tomorrow that could be coming out, but other than that, it's still looking bullish. Microsoft is range bound between 411 and 416. It's going to 416 and 410. We're just stuck in the middle, might just continue to consolidate. There might be a dip lower if there is a head and shoulders here, so it might be at risk of dipping to 405. And then Google's going to be looking for 183, then 180 is our target, so we'll have to see if those hold. But honestly, guys, as far as tomorrow goes, the stock market looks bullish. It looks like it wants to push higher, at least technically speaking. This depends on PPI and also if Donald Trump announces those tariffs. We'll see how that affects things. NIO could be going for 4.25 to 4.3 for a small push, and we'll see if we get a rejection or not. But keep in mind, tomorrow there's two catalysts. We just have the PPI report. We'll see if that pumps the markets or dumps it. And then as time goes on, the White House has claimed that Donald Trump will announce the tariffs tomorrow before he meets up with the Prime Minister of India. So we'll see. We'll see, guys. I'm just here to be unbiased. I'm just trying to show you what these headlines are saying. So be very, very patient and get ready for something very, very big. I thank you for listening. Have a good one. We do look bullish for now. The market may push a bit higher, but be cautious with all these crazy headlines coming out and the things that Donald Trump may be saying. So get ready. With that being said, I thank you for listening and peace out.